Hey everybody, Dobie here with another Stratego game analysis. In this game, I'm going to show you what I try to do to win with the flag up front. I'll show you some mistakes I make, and we'll show you how I set up and what tips I do to try to convince people that my flag is really a bomb, and how I can wind up playing a normal game with a flag up top. So let's get started. I don't recommend people playing with an open flag, especially beginners. You should almost always have your flag bombed in. You're going to win a lot more games. Your winning percentage will be a lot higher if you have a bombed in flag. That way you don't lose to lotterers late in the game. And when your flag's bombed in, you can advance your high pieces and attack. But when you have an open flag, you have to have your high pieces back to play defense. So it's a lot better to have your flag bombed in, and that way the only way your opponent can win is by getting a miner down to open up a bombed in flag. So don't like I said, don't I do not recommend playing with open flags. So now what I like to do here is I like to have a bomb opposite my flag. And the reason is I hope people think I have a symmetrical setup. A lot of beginners, when they play, have symmetrical setups. They'll have like a sergeant and a captain, and then over here they'll have a captain and a sergeant. So I'm hoping that when they hit this bomb, and I'll usually pause for a few seconds when they hit this, I hope they say, oh, this is a bomb. And then hopefully that they'll think I have a symmetrical setup and that this is a bomb. So when my opponents hit this bomb early in the game, my winning percentage usually goes up a lot higher because I think I eventually convince them that this is a bomb too. Another thing I like to do is have a sergeant behind the flag here. And the reason is because what do most players have behind a bomb? They usually have a sergeant. So early in the game, I will move the sergeant out and I'll attack, and hopefully if my opponents are paying attention, they'll say, oh, that's a sergeant. And if they remember where it came from, they'll say, oh, it came from here, so this might be a bomb because this piece hasn't moved. And a lot of times when you move a piece below another piece and this piece hasn't moved, people will tend to think it's a bomb. So then once the game starts, you want to go up and over. I didn't do it in this game, but you always want to go up and over. If you try to be cute and move over here or move a piece over here, the odds are pretty good that your flag's going to get scouted. This is a very popular spot. The two edge spots here are very popular for scouts. And if you start moving over here and over here, they're going to scout you and you're going to lose. So I should move over here, but I made a mistake. And I've actually lost the game doing this. A player, you think if it moves once, it's not a scout, but sometimes a player will move once and then they'll move two spaces and you'll lose. So you have to move over, up and over, to avoid losing to a scout. I didn't do it here, but you have to do that. So that was definitely a mistake on my part. You want to go up and over. So I gave him multiple chances to win if that was a scout. So now what you want to do is, as the game goes, is you want to clear the column where the flag is. You want to attack these pieces until you hit a bomb. And once you hit a bomb, you stop and you can play a normal game. If there are no bombs in this column, then you have to go the back row until you hit a bomb, and then you stop. And then you can play a normal game. And the reason is you want to get rid of any possibility of scouts and then miners and sergeants, because they tend to come down this column and they'll come straight into your flag. So you don't want that to happen. But once you clear the column until you hit a bomb, once you do that, then you don't have to have any piece in front of the flag. and you can play a normal game. And then finally, the other thing I like to do then is after the games, after you played, 30, 40 moves or so, you want to move these three pieces in the back row, because you don't want your opponent to think a flag is in the corner here. You don't want them bringing minors over here. So once you move these pieces, there's no reason for a minor to come down here and to hit this piece. And that's basically it. That's how you can win by playing with a flag up front. And then finally, the other thing is you have to always worry about your opponent's scouts. You have to defend against scouts, because anytime you have an open flag, the game's in doubt until you get rid of all your opponent's scouts. So I'm pulling back my kernel here. I try not to draw too much attention here. I try to clear this column with low pieces if possible, because when you bring high pieces over, then your opponent will start bringing high pieces over to attack, and you don't want that to happen. Another thing, my marshal's in a bad spot here. I think the ideal spot is this spot right here below the leg, because when you play silver players and gold players, they're going to marshal blitz a lot, and it helps to have the marshal here to defend the flag fairly quickly. I don't like having the marshal here at the start of the game, because it's too easy to be revealed. It draws attention to the side, and then I don't play so well when my marshal gets revealed. Maybe a good marshal blitzer could play well with the marshal here, but I like it better over here, and I try not to reveal it if I can avoid that. I don't want to reveal my marshal at all. I don't even want to reveal my kernel, because you don't want to draw attention to this side. You want this side to look like a weak side, but you still want to try to clear the column. So basically, it's a game within a game to try to clear this column. And I did another mistake here real quick. Let's see, go back here. You don't want to attack with this piece. I found this out by losing a game. You don't want to attack anytime your piece is guarding the flag. You don't want to attack with this piece, because if I attack going forward and this happens to be a captain, then we both get removed off the board, and it's my opponent's turn, and if this is a scout, then he wins the game. So you don't want to do that. So try not to do that. Anytime, especially if, let's say if you have a marshal or spy here, and you don't want it to be revealed, then you want that piece to attack you. You don't want to attack it if you don't know what it is, because then the piece behind it can be scouted. So don't do that either. I was lucky it was a sergeant. One of the difficulties of playing with a flag up front is most players tend to overprotect. Or any open flag, they tend to overprotect where it is, and then you basically give it away, and your opponent then can find the flag a lot easier. I tend to do the opposite. I tend to totally leave it alone once I clear this column. So I should attack with this piece and not this piece. Another difficulty with the flag on the side is it can be very difficult to trap pieces on this side. If you ever try to trap a piece on this side, they might run straight down into the bomb, and then you wind up losing. So you have to think about that when you want to trap drop a piece over here. Oh, so that's good. We found the Marshall early. But I'm trying to find out what this piece is. And it's nice to have scouts in this column here so you can protect your flag when they have scouts coming down. So that's ideal. Now I can play a normal game. And then what I should do then is try to move these pieces to make it look like there's no flag down here. And then there's no reason for my opponent to attack this piece. And you can play a normal game. See, my opponent might think this is a high piece because I moved it up. This is a revealed general, and I moved this piece up. So he might think this might be my Marshall, even though it's in a strange spot. And note, he doesn't take me with this piece here now because he thinks this has a possibility of being a Marshall. Now I force him to make a decision. I think better players would have attacked this, but he fell for it. And now this wasn't a bad move by my opponent. I might have done this as well, because when you find a Marshall on one side of the board, there's a 2/3 chance that the general is on the other side of the board, and the spy is usually near the general. So if you just go by statistics, statistically this was a pretty good move, but unfortunately the spy was there, and he wound up quitting after losing his Marshall. So that was a good win. So, but that's how you play with a flag up front. I gotta go over it again real quick. Have a bomb on one side to make it look. This really does help, especially in the lower levels when you're playing players under 500 ELO or lower. They'll believe that you have a symmetrical setup. I think when you play higher level players, they're probably going to want to test this, especially if they find 3 or 4 bombs. Then they might want to see if this is the 5th bomb, and then they can wind up lottoing. They'll want to verify it. I like the sergeant behind the flag, moving it out to also help. It really helps to make it look like this is a bomb. But the main thing is to clear this column until you hit a bomb, or to go the back row until you hit a bomb, and then you can play a normal game. And it's really fun. The best games are usually when you play long games, and then when both sides find out that each side has an open flag, and then it's a race to find the open flag, that's when I have an advantage, because my opponent's not going to check here. They're going to check all the pieces on the back row, and then they'll check all the pieces on the second row before they'll check up here. So I've had even players actually hit a bomb early in the game, and then when all the pieces on the back row are checked, they'll recheck a bomb and get blown up. So because it's not logical to have a flag up here, and they're so concentrated on the back row that especially in a long game, they'll never suspect that the flag's up there. But you'll lose a lot of games early. The first two moves you can lose if you go second by being scouted, or if people lotto or marshal blitz on this side, it's very hard to win. So, but anyway, that's how I play to win with the flag up front. I don't recommend it, but I love it because I think it's the ultimate bluff, and I think my games are more exciting than probably anybody else's games that play on Stratego.com. I think I have more fun than most players, except for maybe Overlord or some of the top players, Major Nelson. They probably have a lot of fun too winning. But again, for beginners, play with bombed in flags. You'll win a lot more games. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.